pivot over to some Alabama softball because we have a big-time guest on here, the one and only Coach Patrick Murphy of the Alabama softball team. Great man. I got to spend some time with him this past weekend. I was attending the regional, and I was invited by Bree Leonard. She's their nutritionist over there. I've been good friends with her, and ended up attending every single game the entire weekend because it was that good. I'm hooked, and I'm so excited and fired up to have Coach Murphy on our show, the Miller's Edge today. Coach Murphy, how are you doing this morning? Thanks for joining the Miller's Edge.
Well, I think you might be the MVP of the weekend because when you showed up, we started winning. So I walked by one day and you weren't in your perch, and I was like, "Where the hell is Christian? He needs to get back over here." So Bree said you were on the way, so I appreciate that. And number one, I'm so proud of you. As a former Tide football player, what you're doing now. So you've got a huge fan in me.
Coach, I appreciate that so much. And again, I'm probably your biggest fan now, man. I watched a few softball games when I was in school, but then after attending last weekend, like I said, I'm hooked. It was just so much fun, and to kind of have that behind the scenes, feel and view of how y'all operate, y'all's kind of family atmosphere, the way the girls compete for each other, and they just went out there every single at bat, every inning, and fought and got things done. I was just blown away and so impressed, and I'll be glad to come back and attend the Super Regionals. But I want to ask you, one thing I did notice about you is you just exude this confidence as a coach. You just always appear to be so poised, calm, cool, collected, no matter the circumstances, whether you're down, you're up. Where does that come from? Is that something that you've always been like? Have you always just had that persona, or is that something you've developed as a coach over the years?
No, I've had really good feedback from assistant coaches and former players. When the big time game would show up, I would be nervous as hell, and that just rubbed off on everybody else. And I probably learned the hard way early in my career. And finally, I had a young lady that played for me was honest enough. And if you call yourself a friend to someone, a friend will tell you the truth. Somebody that doesn't tell you the truth is not a friend, and they're not helping you at all. And sometimes it takes 30 seconds of embarrassment for a lifetime of learning. And I think that was the case with this young lady. And I just really try to think, because nonverbal communication says 1,000 things. You don't have to say a word. You can just look at somebody and think, oh, he's nervous, or he's uptight, or he's upset, or whatever the situation might be. Mm-hmm. So you try to stay calm in the dugout and don't say much, don't do much. And sometimes it's a lot easier said than done. But I try to get better at that year after year, because I know if they're relaxed, if I'm relaxed, they will be relaxed. But if I'm uptight, they will be too.
Coach Patrick Murphy, head softball coach of Alabama, is our guest here on the Miller's Edge. Coach, I'm Corey Miller. I am the father of that young man that you've been talking about. So I'm glad he got over there and supported the softball team and brought some of that positive vibes that you guys picked up on and got things done last week. So welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. And, this past weekend, it was such a great atmosphere. I think it was the 18th regional at home. And I always, like at the end of the year, I'm always worried about fan fatigue, because this is a long season. Like Christian, you had 7 home games a year. Mm-hmm. We could have up to 35.
Wow.
And that's a lot of effort from a lot of people to come out to 35 games. And we're seated well enough where we knew that obviously we could host the next weekend too. As some people for football, I've heard them say at the gym or wherever, well, I'll wait for the semifinals. I'm going to go to the finals, of the CFP. And I'm like, wait a minute, we got to get there first.
Right.
You guys have them spoiled. Football definitely has people spoiled, and I think so do we. So my gentleman said yesterday, he said, Coach, this is based on previous years, it's one of the best selling super regionals they've ever had.
Wow.
So hopefully we'll have a full house tomorrow night and a true home field advantage.
Absolutely.
Coach, let me ask just one question too before I give it back to you. Coach, 17th, I'll see what the super regional appearance for Alabama softball. And we know you're playing the Big Ten champions in Northwestern. And super regional, the further you go, the competition gets tougher. You're at home, you alluded to that. But you got to have one thing we know, great pitching. Montana Styles didn't play, but your backup came in and did great things, got things done. But what's her availability and what's that rotation going to look like heading into this weekend?
Well, you're right, and it's called fast pitch for a reason. Because when you have a circle drawn around your position, you're pretty dang important to the team, right? So she could have possibly pitched last weekend, and you're absolutely correct. Jayla Torrance came in, and you talk about like a backup quarterback moment. He came in, dominated. 3 wins, no earned run. Just exactly what we needed at the right time. And I'm so proud of that young lady. But we have, 4 pitchers on staff. And I really think as each day goes by and she gets more physical therapy, more work with all our athletic trainers, Dr. Kane, everybody in Birmingham that's been helping her out. I really think that she could possibly go this weekend, Montana.
Well, he took my question because I wanted to speak about Jayla Torrance and her performance. No, you're fine. No, because that was one thing I was so impressed with it. Just like, and maybe you're right. Maybe you're rubbing off on her because she just had the same face the whole time, Coach. She was poised, confident, and she looked like she was beyond prepared and ready for that moment. And she definitely capitalized on it. And I was going to ask you about that. So I'm glad you spoke on that because she's so deserving of that recognition because she was phenomenal. So heading into this super regional, what are some things that you guys want to focus on in order to give your team the best chance to be successful this upcoming weekend?
Well, there's 3 things in high-level softball you have to do to win a game. Number 1, you got to get a good start from your pitcher. So she has to give you a chance to win. Number 2, you got to play really good team defense. You can't give the other team 22, 23, 24 outs. You got to keep them to 21. And then the third and probably the hardest, and you saw that on Sunday in the last game, you have to get the key hit some point, sometime. And usually it's 2 outs or, second and third, bases loaded situation. And, Sunday, it took 7 innings. It was the top of the 7th, and Allie Shipman led off with a solo home run.
Yep.
And that's sometimes that's all you need. And there's a lot of games like that in postseason softball. And, I know you were there and you saw it, but I have buddies in baseball all over the country, and every single year around this time, they'll start texting me and they'll say, "Dude, I don't know how you do it. Every pitch matters," and it's very, very stressful. And like a couple of them, texted and said, "Hell, I was yelling at the TV more than I yell at my own team." So it's bases are 60 feet. Baseball, it's 90 feet. And the action is fast and furious in softball. And if you bobble a ball, the runner's going to be safe. It's as simple as that. So you're really living and dying on every single pitch in the postseason.
Coach Murphy is our guest. As we talk Alabama softball, they get ready to host Northwestern in the Super Regional this weekend. Alabama's hot, ready, rocking and rolling. Coach, I was reading your bio, and I saw that you're in the Alabama Sports Hall of Fame just a couple of years ago. As well as me, I got inducted to the South Carolina Athletics Hall of Fame last year. So we have that in common. And the lady that went in with me, who I've known, I'm telling my age, is Joyce Compton, who's been coach of South Carolina for God knows how many years. When I came to college in 1987, I think she was here. She went in the Hall of Fame with me, and I've always loved softball and was always great friends with Coach Compton. And do you know her at all?
She is one of my best friends in softball. When I got in the S, she had been there, and seriously, she is like one of my mentors. I still call her. I called her last week. I talked to her about the Montana situation. She'll give me advice or just listen, basically. But no, I still talk to her to this day, and I've been friends with her for probably 30 years. She's a great lady.
Wow.
Yeah, she's just awesome, and had a great chance to spend some time with her last football season as they brought us out in the field and just talking to her. I mean, all the wisdom, just, you know what I mean? It's just when you play sports, no matter what the sport is, the same components, right? It's the discipline, the hard work, the effort, all the different things that I'm sure that you preach and teach. It all equates to the same thing when it comes to winning. It's a certain way that you win, and just wonderful to be in the Hall of Fame with her.
Yeah, that's very cool. I did not know that. I'm sure both of you were very deserving, so congrats.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Small world. Well, Coach,
Yeah.
I want to ask you, every year, there's different challenges and opportunities to learn, whether you're a player or a coach, and just opportunities to grow. Has there been anything that you've learned from this specific season or this team, that's made you grow as a coach and as a person?
I think number one that they've taught a lot of people is don't judge a book by its cover. And that means, the very first game of the year, we lost. And we were at home. And I think half the country thought that the world was ending. And this team never listened to the negative talk behind the scenes on social media or whatever.
The rat poison.
And they looked forward. They had a growth mindset. They kept getting better and better and better. And they really, Coach Saban says, don't listen to the rat poison.
Yeah.
Do the same thing that we were doing all year long. And it was so gratifying when, on Selection Show Sunday, they named us the 5th seed. And I was probably more happy for a team that night than I have in my entire career, because they really, really worked hard, stayed together, and stayed positive. And that's hard to do.
Coach, we'll ask you one more final question, let you go. Really appreciate your time. Bring down to get some practice in the final tune-up for Northwestern. Tell us, the scouting report, if you will, of Northwestern coming out of the Big Ten, and they're the champions of the Big Ten. Just tell us a little bit of what we can expect in this matchup.
Well, they have a pretty deep pitching staff, but they're led by a lefty, and that's the thing that a buddy of mine at the gym asked me this morning. And you don't see a lot of lefties, but you also don't see a lot of lefties, and their best pitch is a changeup, and it's nasty. She'll throw it on any count, anytime. She'll throw it 3 times in a row. So we worked a lot on staying back on a pitch. Don't over-swinging. If you see us over-swinging on that changeup, it's not going to be a good day for us. So we have to take about 20, 25% off and put the ball in play all day long. That's the key. We can't strike out 10, 12 times. We got to make them make plays, but we got to put the ball in play consistently when we get runners on base. And then, like I said before, we can't give them extra outs. We have to play really good team defense, because they're a good hitting team as well. They won the Big Ten overall, and then they won the Big Ten tournament. So they're coming in pretty hot and really confident.
We'll need a big crowd at the stadium on this weekend against Friday, May 26th, 7 p.m. Central Time. If you're not there, you can catch it on ESPN2. Saturday, May 27th, 8 p.m. Central Time on ESPN. And if necessary, we hope that's not necessary, because we believe we're going to be 2 and done. We're getting ready to put the Big Ten back in their place, Coach. Baby, let's go. Coach, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Coach.
Thank you so much. Hey, you guys are awesome. Have a good day.
Yes, sir. Hope to see you this
Coach,
weekend.
thank you.